Throwdown with Jagger.
You got a great new song called Superbad.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm excited about it.
Let's talk about it.
Superbad, you know, it sort of came about. I was in the studio. I recorded most of this album here in New York with a group of producers called the 11. These New York-based producers, unbelievable musicians and very talented producers. And going in, I knew we wanted to make a record that was very simple, clean, bass-driven. A lot of this album is very retro-sounding, so I wanted to do something that was very sort of bass-heavy, like, you know. Oh,
there's definitely a lot of bass in this song.
Kool and the Gang or Earth, Wind and Fire. So we set out to do that. We had a lot of funk guitars, simple drum pattern, and that was it. And then, you know, the lyric just kind of felt like it just called for a lyric like Superbad. And, you know, we just decided we would talk about the baddest chick on the planet. So that was the genesis of Superbad, and I think it's just such a good representation of the rest of the album.
You got to be excited about this project. I mean, this is what you do. This is what you love.
This is it, man. I live for this stuff, and you know, I've been making music now for well over a decade, and
wow. Wait, step back for a second.
Yeah,
you just said that out loud.
It's true.
How's it feel to say that?
It's pretty wild, actually. You know, I remember starting my career like it was yesterday. And I've learned and I've grown so much over the years, and you know, it's great to wake up in the morning and still, like, you know, show up for work and, you know, get paid to make music. Like, it's just, you know, it's very few people can say that they can do that, and so I'm very, very grateful and blessed.
You were involved in a trivia question that a good friend of mine asked me recently, actually, and I guess what happened recently on the charts hasn't happened since you did this back in 2008. With your song Leaving, and with the song you co-wrote with Ryan Tedder, Bleeding Love for Leona Lewis.
Right.
To have the back-to-back songs on the chart.
It was wild, yeah. That was a big year, 2008, and I just remember feeling for the first time, like, wow, like, that was the first album where I realized, and I had made 2 records prior to that, but that was the first time I realized this is absolutely what I'm going to do, you know, for the rest of my life. I never, and early on in my career, I didn't know if it was a phase or something that I was just going to, you know, kind of dabble in and then jump out, but that's when I realized, you know, maybe I have something here. Maybe I can actually do this full time for the rest of my life. And so that was just a really great year. Ryan and I actually reminisce about it all the time. I forwarded him an email where from like 2007, where he was like, "Hey man, I really like this song Bleeding Love. I think it really has some potential. I think we should send it to Simon Cowell and let Leona Lewis record it." And at the time, I was like, hey, man, like, you know, whatever you think, if she's awesome, let's have her record it. But it's just so funny to look back on that conversation, and now it's the song that it is.
Would you say music's your first love?
You know, it's so hard. I mean, I love music, you know, and it's funny because it's really hard to decide what is my first love, because I grew up on stage. I grew up in the theater. And so for me, you know, being theatrically trained, you know, it's everything. It's entertaining, it's acting, it's singing, it's you know, moving people, you know. Yeah. So whatever that medium is, whether it's music or acting, I enjoy all of it, you know. So it's hard to say that I have a first love. I get bored easily, so I like to jump around, and when I'm on set for 6 months, I'm like, oh my gosh, just get me back in the studio. And when I'm in the studio for a year straight, I'm like, when's the next script coming? Cool. So, you know, it's just one of those things, but I love what I do, and I'm so happy I can make a living doing it, you know? Yeah,
totally. I think it's so cool that those are 2 big things that you're involved in, and they're 2 of the coolest things in the world. I mean, acting and singing and writing songs and performing music's got to be awesome as well.
It's so fun, you know, wake up every day and be creative.
Jesse, we have a couple tweet questions for you.
Awesome.
So some Twitter fans wanted to reach out and ask you a question during the interview today, and the first one's from @SincerelyJoy. And she asked, who did you listen to the most for inspiration to create your new album, In Technicolor? Like, was there somebody today you might have listened to, or...?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, I listen to a lot of Michael, and I always do. I mean, Michael Jackson's, you know, he's it for me, you know, in terms of pop. And I think most pop artists would say that, you know, he kind of broke the mold. He was kind of he pushed the envelope, and he kind of paved the way for everybody in pop music today.
This is from @DRayo7, asking if you could change one thing about the world, what would it be? I mean, that's a pretty deep question, Jesse.
That is a very deep and existential question. If I could change one thing about the world, man, just that we would just stop fighting. You know? The war, like all these wars, like I just wish we could cut it out, and I wish it wasn't because of something as, you know, so, you know, I just wish it wasn't because of things like religion and politics, you know, and that's really the reason why we're all fighting with each other, and it's just silly to me. So be who you want to be, believe what you want to believe, and, you know, just be the best version of you that you can be. Superbad, superstar, got no